Now let's take all of that energy and transmute that into freedom. Okay? Another thing we find that affects a fairly large number of people is what I call negative karmic influence. This really has nothing to do with you. This is what your ancestors did. Now, you and I got the color of our eyes, hair, skin, and a lot of our attitudes from our ancestors. We also got a lot of their thought processes. We might call it genetic memory. The real truth is we're all a product of our ancestors, and most of us needed better ancestors. Well, that's okay. We got ways of doing that too. So what I'd like to do at this time is to remove or neutralize any and all negative karmic influence. And I realize there may be some of you out there saying, who does this guy think he is that can change karmic influence? Well, I'm just a plain simple mountain man here in the mountains of Virginia that believes that we can change energy, and karmic influence is nothing more than energy. So which way do you think we're going to be better off? If we believe we can do something or believe we can't do it? Well, it's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? You're going to accomplish a lot more in life if you think you can than if you think you can't. But whichever way you think you're thinking on this, you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're probably right. I choose to think I can do it, and we've got a lot of evidence to support that. And you can do the same thing. I have not cornered the market on any of this stuff. All I'm doing is making it available to a larger audience. Next thing is a subject I don't even particularly want to believe in, and it's implants. I won't get into the details on this for one simple reason: I don't fully understand them. But what I found is that there are people out there, and they attend my classes, that have implants from one source or another. And again, we won't get into the details on this. You may believe it, you may not believe it. Either way is okay. But what happens is they feel different when these implants are removed. So just on the chance that you might possibly have them, or those victims you're working on might possibly have them, let's see if we can deactivate and dissolve any and all non-beneficial implants upon those people who are victims and oppressed and abused. And it must be working, and it must be a heck of a lot of it, because look how long it's taken. All right, now, this next thing we're getting into is going to take a few minutes to explain. I'm going to be real brief with it. But it's based upon 4 simple principles. Number 1 is we have all the water in the world that's ever been. Nobody made any new water to my knowledge. Water has memory. That's pretty much been proven. And human beings haven't been very nice to each other, which is why we're filming this film. And this has been going on probably about as long as there have been people walking around on 2 legs on the planet. If those 3 statements are true, then it stands to reason that water would contain the memory of all the torture, suffering, slavery, atrocities, and brutality that humans have created upon this earth as long as they've been here. Fact number 4 is your body contains water. Well, my buddy Jeff Jones and I got thinking about this. Jeff is that fellow that I film every now and then and introduce to you that hasn't had a meal. Right now it's been 12 years. He lives on water. Very unique fella. And he and I got to talking one day about what we just shared with you here, about these 4 simple principles. We decided we didn't want all of the negative memory of past events in the water of our body. So we decided we'd do something about it. We'd remove it. What did we do? We simply, and no more than this now, said we want to remove the non-beneficial memory from the water of our body, and we want to do it now. And the pendulum went around counterclockwise. We realized in order to do this properly and sufficiently, we would probably need to adjust the surface tension of the water in our body. And I won't get into that right now either because of time. I want to keep this one simple. We simply adjusted the surface tension of the water in our bodies and in your bodies to allow the negative memory to be released. Okay? Now, We went through a series of detox symptoms, such as night sweats, can't hardly get from one rest area to the other on the interstate, have to pull over to the side of the road and find a tree somewhere, to having terrible body odor and a case of pimples. What happened? We put our bodies into detox by doing nothing more than what you just saw. For about 8 years, I had been conducting emotional release classes where people would remember very vividly abuse that they suffered as a child. Maybe it was a car wreck, but the worst thing we ever dealt with was childhood sexual abuse. And we kind of understood that the methods we were using were bringing up these memories, and the people were reacting to them. They were actually reliving them. But we also found they were bringing up things that could not possibly have happened in this life, like being burned at the stake, being hanged, being nailed to a tree, or being butchered in some horrendous manner, having arms and legs cut off, and so on. This was not any fun. It really wasn't. These poor people would lay there and kick and scream and cuss and yell and throw all manner of fits while we were working to pull all these memories out of their body. Now, once we got done, they would grab a hold of us and hang on to us like they were never going to turn us loose and continue to thank us for what we did for them. Well, I'd done about all this stuff I wanted to do. I mean, the only reason I continued was because the people needed it, not because I enjoyed it. So we were doing a class a few days later. And just as an act of kindness, I mentioned to the folks, my buddy Jeff and I have found a way to detox our bodies. Would you like for me to show you how and help you do it? And they all said, yeah, we want to do it. So we did. The next day, we had an emotional release class. I was very surprised. All the people still had memories of being cut apart and butchered and killed in all horrendous manners, but nobody screamed. Not a one. And for 8 years, we had never seen anything like that happen. I really didn't know what had happened. It probably took 3 or 4 of these classes before it finally soaked in that what's really happened is we had removed the memory of the torturous events from their bodies, and they no longer had those emotions. Oh, they had the memory, but it really didn't make a lot of difference. Like they could lay there and, yeah, this happened to me. They cut my hands off or my feet, or they stuck a spear through me or whatever. But they didn't have all the trauma that they'd always had in the past. Well, we knew then that we're on to something here. It wasn't planned. We just stumbled onto it. So what I would like to do for you folks is to remove the negative memory from the water of your bodies. Now, you're looking for a long, complicated, drawn-out, detailed procedure. You're going to be disappointed because it don't have one. This is all there is to it. We're going to remove the non-beneficial memory from the water of your bodies, period. Okay? Now, we're going to adjust the surface tension of the water in your bodies, allowing it to release this memory. And that's all there is to it. That's a good thing about this work. It's real simple. You don't have to know a whole lot about it. You just got to do it.